It's Monday, August 9th, 2021. We, no doubt, I believe, are beginning to watch things melt down. Dow Jones down about 100 right now, S&P down a little bit. Overall markets are pretty flat. They should be getting devastated right now, but everything's fake. Everything's an illusion. The numbers are fake. What you're watching on television is fake. Isn't it amazing that we're going to print so many dollar bills that you've got the Fed buying up all this debt, and we live in a country that's approaching $30 trillion of debt. We have more money going out than coming in, running these massive deficits, yet they're able to smash gold, able to smash silver. You know, this barbarous relic that they speak of is such an enemy to this whole Ponzi scheme. And this is why I will continue to buy more. I don't care how far it goes down. I will buy it all the way down. And I'm going to continue to bet against this debt. In my opinion, the way I see it, you better be holding real assets. Things are too good to be true at this point, ladies and gentlemen. The bubbles are getting so enormous, so overinflated. And my biggest fear is that we're going to witness the biggest economic collapse the world has seen. We're going to wake up to some chaos one of these days. And no matter how good they tell you things are, all you have to do is look out your window and you realize things aren't so good. I don't give financial advice. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I really pray that everybody watching today is preparing one way or another. And one of the best ways to prepare is to get out of this system, because this system is melting down. You are witnessing the meltdown of this system. All while they're telling you everything is incredible, while they continue to inflate the bubbles beyond anything humanly possible. This is a bellwether right here. When you're watching these bubbles ballooning up as big as they are, ask yourself, how much longer can this go on? Yeah, it can go on a little while longer, but it will come to an end, an abrupt end, a very ugly ending for millions of people. CNBC today, job openings surge above 10 million for first time ever. Isn't that amazing? This economy is doing so well that we have 10 million job openings. We've never seen that before, but many, millions upon millions of these jobs are just jobs that people had left last year because of the health crisis, and now they don't want to return to these jobs. Many people are scared to go back to work. Many people are too lazy to go back to work, and many people are just making too much money sitting at home to go back to work. Why should they? When the government's paying you more money to sit at home, why go back to work? But this may be good news to the average American who eats this up. Wow, the economy is doing incredible, because look at the 10 million job openings. But let's also remember that most of these jobs, not most, but a great number of them, are leisure and hospitality. Millions of these jobs, maybe a third of these jobs, are in leisure and hospitality, maybe even more. But we now have a country, a job market here based on leisure and hospitality. It's really incredible. But you know, in some of my past videos, we just broke down where some of these jobs were, but we also need to break down is what a lot of these jobs pay. Many of these are minimum wage jobs, they're low paying jobs. Many of you already know that, you know, if you go to Home Depot, you go to Walmart, you go to Lowe's, you know, you're going to get 18, 20 hours a week. You're not going to get benefits. And so how does the average American survive on 18 or 20 hours a week, no benefits, low paying, minimum wage? How does this go on? How is this going to continue? How is this going to continue to keep these bubbles inflated? How do you have a legitimate, real housing market when you have a country dependent on minimum wage jobs, leisure and hospitality jobs, a country that is living paycheck to paycheck? 80% of this country back in 2019 was living paycheck to paycheck. Yet there are people out there that believe everything is okay. Look, I'm a realist. All you have to do uh, is take a look around. Take a look at the type of jobs that are available, the hours, the wages, and look at the prices of rent, look at the price of housing, look at the price of food. How does this continue? Somebody please explain this to me. Here's another one, CNBC. We're putting a lot of families at risk. 7.5 million Americans will lose unemployment benefits next month. So here we go again, unemployment benefits running out. We're going to have the rent moratorium expiring the first week of October, supposedly. We have mortgage forbearances that are going to be expiring. This is the perfect storm again, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, they can extend it. They can give everybody a little bit more money, but there's a price to pay for all this. There's a severe price to pay. It's called inflation. It's called dollar debasement. And what they're going to do is they're going to force so many landlords to sell properties, and you're going to see a mass inventory of properties come onto the market. Wow, people are going to be forced to go back to, minimum wage jobs or $10, $12 an hour jobs, and then be expected to buy an average house at $350,000. How does that work? A lot of people out there hate these landlords, even though they make up a majority of landlords are the mom and poppers. They make up a majority of the rental industry, and I just think that's really a disservice when we have this negative belief of landlords, people that just despise landlords. But here's what you're going to get. You're going to lose the majority of the mom and poppers, and what you're going to get is you're going to get the BlackRocks and you're going to get the Blackstones. Those are going to be your landlords. And if you didn't like your mom and pop landlord before, wait till you see what's coming. Wait till you see your new landlord, BlackRock, Blackstone. I don't think you're going to like it. You're going to pray you had those mom and pop landlords in the business, but they're going to be gone. They're going to be long gone because you despise them. You didn't want to pay them. You're gonna get a whole new world of landlord here in America. So be on the lookout for that. I want to go over an article here on survivalblog.com. Looming economic crisis threatens to push millions of Americans into starvation. And I'm just going to kind of go through this article a little bit. I'm going to start with this. A pair of Harvard economists has estimated that the health crisis will cost the U.S. over $16 trillion. And that's if we return back to normal or some sort of normal by fall of 2021. What do you think the odds are of us returning to any sort of normal by this fall? In fact, we could see things go completely abnormal by this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching the perfect storm here. People losing unemployment benefits, people going to be evicted, people going to lose their houses, landlords are going to be forced to sell, or they're going to be foreclosed on themselves, and you're going to see inventory pile up, and you're going to see the BlackRocks and Blackstones come into this real estate market and continue to price people out of this market while they're earning minimum wage or $12 an hour, getting 18 hours a week at one of the big box stores. This is just, the beginning. This is going to get very, very ugly as we continue to run massive deficits and massive debt, devaluing our dollar here in America, giving you and I less purchasing power while everybody's making less money. Prices going up while you get 18 hours a week at work with no benefits. Think about it. Millions of people's finances have been destroyed, especially small businesses whose doors have been shuttered permanently. These people lost everything. They lost their life savings. They lost their work, their life work, because they had to close. But Walmart and Sam's and Costco and McDonald's and Taco Bell, etc., none of them had to close, but you did. Again, we're talking about the looming economic crisis and the threats here. Well, look, we are spending a lot of money an estimated $16 trillion just with this health crisis. We're losing, continuing to lose a small business in America, and it's not over. We haven't even seen the fallout of how much small business we're going to lose from last year, because many of it today, many of the ones that still exist, that are still surviving, many haven't paid a year in lease or rent. So what's going to be the fallout? Government spending out of control. This is one of the biggest factors leading to the U.S. financial collapse. We cannot stop spending as a nation. Our federal government cannot stop spending, and we're going to pay a severe price. Health relief bills totaled $4 trillion. Unemployment bonuses, small business loans, stimulus checks, all attributed to that. Where did the money come from? You know, we ask ourselves that all the time. Where's the money coming from? Well, the Federal Reserve loaned it to the federal government, creating it by buying the debt. If anyone other than the Fed did this, they would be in prison today. Another big problem we have regarding this crisis and the threats and why we're going to see a collapse is because no one sees a problem. And as long as people and the government don't see a problem, we're going to get much, much closer to a massive collapse. Our politicians believe our nation can sustain a much higher level of debt as they plan to spend every dollar of the new credit limit that they can. We got the president's $6 trillion budget deficit. Congress now talking about a $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. The trillions we spent in the health crisis. This is a disaster. And they're just going to keep spending during this disaster. Here's another one contributing to this collapse. Rising inflation. Chances are that this inflation that we're seeing right now is going to be much worse by the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to really hurt a lot of people. It's going to hurt millions of people. Loss of Main Street. Now, we don't know how many small, medium businesses we lost over the past year and a half. There's estimates from 100,000 to 1 million businesses that have folded. No one really knows the real number. Isn't it amazing when you watch these business channels in the morning? Nobody talks about the loss of small, medium business. Nobody talks about the real, true unemployment numbers. Nobody talks about the real inflation numbers. Many businesses with no reserves were forced to shut down permanently. And that's the key word, reserves. Do you have reserves? If you lost your job today, do you have enough reserves to stay afloat, pay your rent, pay for food, pay the water bill, pay the heating bill, make the car payment? Can you do that for 6 months? Do you have enough in reserves to carry yourself for 6 months or a year? Most people are paycheck to paycheck. They're one flat tire away from being in very, very big trouble. Most of this country now is a paycheck or two away from moving back to their parents' house or being homeless on the streets right here in America. You know, people used to laugh at that a couple years ago, but they're not laughing now because they realize it. And this is, I mean, if you're working 18 hours at Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's or Costco, you need to be getting out and getting a side hustle. You need to find something. You need to start thinking out of the box right now. What can you do to get another 10, 20, 30 hours a week on the side? Going back to this article, these businesses didn't get added to the statistics because there are no bankruptcy procedures for government statisticians to count. Unemployment remains high. We're looking at around 25% real unemployment in America, and the jobs that are available are in leisure and hospitality. This is bartenders, waitresses, waiters, etc. You know, people working at resorts. Again, how many of the jobs out there pay a decent wage? Most are paying low wages, minimum wage, and there's no room to advance and no benefits. So all these are signs that the collapse has begun and that the collapse is going to get much worse. National debt is another sign of this collapse. And people that believe that there's no collapse right now or that we're not heading into a collapse, take a look at your national debt. It's approaching $30 trillion. Gross national product is $22 trillion. Figure it out. So why haven't we crashed? Technically, as we are crashing, because the US dollar is the world reserve currency. But with current budget and infrastructure bills that are in the trillions of dollars, we know that the debt is going to get massively larger, and so does the world, and so does China. And someone like China is going to take out the US dollar. This is why they own so much gold. This is why they've been preparing for decades and decades. They produce literally everything in the world now, the 4 largest banks in the world, the biggest military in the world, arguably the biggest economy in the world, the biggest manufacturer in the world. And if you think that they're not planning on having the world reserve currency, possibly backed by gold, you're dazed and you're confused. People, another thing, another sign of this collapse that is taking place right now, and that we're going to collapse much deeper, is people on television are not telling you the truth. It is so obvious, so apparent, the agenda with these people on television, just to keep suckering people into the stock market, suckering people into the housing bubble. They're suckering people into every bubble known to mankind. How many of these people are actually looking out and telling you the truth that things are in big trouble? We're in a mess. This country spends more money. It's spending more money than it's taking in. Okay, we have a homeless crisis. We have an unemployment crisis. We have a manufacturing crisis, and we have a debt crisis. We have a bubble crisis. We have so many crises and so many bubbles in America, yet nobody on the television will tell you that. Nobody will tell you to stop spending. Nobody will tell you not to buy a house. Nobody on television will tell you not to use your credit card. Nobody will tell you not to gamble in the Ponzi scheme casino of Wall Street. Nobody will tell you that, because these people on television are all paid by big corporation. They're there for a reason. They're there to sucker you in to the casino. And these people are shaking down Americans. They're giving Americans false information and false hope. And people are making decisions on these fake numbers, this fake information. And people are going to lose everything because they've entrusted people in a $2,000 suit on a television. Very, very scary. They're going to lose everything. I want to close with this last article. And they took a survey of 1,500 people. It was online. And people right now, there's people out there getting worried, and they're preparing. But again, this is the average American's way of preparing. Out of the 1,500 people surveyed, 16% are out buying toilet paper, 8% buying paper towels, 33% are buying bottled water, 11% buying bread, 11% buying cat food, 6% buying cat litter, 6% buying frozen pizza, 18% buying frozen meat. That's good, but if the power goes out, what are you going to do? This is why you've got to have real food preparation, buying canned food, buying freeze-dried food, emergency food that has a shelf life of 20 or 25 years. 8% buying cigarettes. It's good for bartering, I guess. But this is, there's been a lot of news now with stores saying, hey, we're running out of this item and that item, and we're running, this is what people are buying. We're running low on these items. So it's toilet paper and cat litter and paper towels and cigarettes. And that's all good to have, ladies and gentlemen, but I cannot stress enough the importance that you have food, emergency food preparation, canned food preparation, stuff that's going to last a while, and making sure that you have water. You can go out and get 25, 50, 100 gallon drums, put it in your garage, put that away. Bottled water is great, but it's got a shelf life, and you got to think about the big picture. If we're hearing so much about EMTs, cyber attacks, grids going down. And it's not a joke anymore. People are beginning to realize it. We keep hearing every day, airlines shutting down, banks shutting down, internet shutting down, you name it. And you have to ask yourself, are you prepared to deal with when the lights go off? If they go off for 3 days or 3 weeks, can you deal with it? Just also, Bank of America out here by my house in Palm Desert, closed down yesterday. They locked the doors that go into the ATMs in the bank lobby. That was all shut down yesterday. And apparently somebody left a note saying, get all of your money out of the bank before it is too late. Somebody put that on the ATM machine on the drive-thru yesterday. So the ATMs in the drive-thru did not work, with a note saying get all your money out of the bank before it's too late. And as you try to enter the doors of the bank to get into the lobby to use the internal ATMs, that door was locked. There was no entrance allowed in there either. So just another report of another bank that is closed. And it just seems like every week or two I'll go to a different bank and use an ATM, and for some reason or another the ATM doesn't work. So how safe is your bank, and how safe is your money? So be aware of all that. But again, be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. Be very, very careful. They're trying to make everything sound great. We saw this happen in 1929. We saw it happen in 2008. I think we're getting much, much closer to something very, very big happening. I don't think we're 18 months out. I think we're much closer than 18 months out. Many people think that we're going to see something happen in 18 months. I don't think we're that far out, but it's happening right now. Things are happening right now. All you have to do is take a look around. But make sure that you are prepared to lose your job. And can you exist for 6 months without an income? Can you exist a year? This is the scary thing. I think that we're seeing these 10 million jobs available now in this incredible economy, but this is going to pass. And again, these are low-paying, minimum wage jobs. They're 18, 20-hour a week jobs, no benefits, a majority of them. This is going to change too. And I think we're going to be at a point in America where it's going to be hard to find an 18 or 20 hour work week. It's going to be hard to find a job at some point. So I'm going to leave it there. Make sure that you're preparing. I don't have all the answers, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. But metals have been smashed. I'm going to buy more. I'm just going to continue to keep buying because I have to hold real things, and I have to continue to bet against the debt. I believe that the dollar is on borrowed time. I believe this economy is on borrowed time. And unfortunately, this country may be on borrowed time if it is not careful and if it does not wake up very soon. This economy is going to snap. And when it does, all you're going to have is what you can get to. Don't worry about whose fault it is or who created it. You better worry about how you're going to eat, where you're going to get water, and how you're going to buy items. Because if you can't access your bank or your ATM, or you witness a bank run or a bail-in, good luck. And I hope that people can get all their cryptos out when everybody's running to the exits, and I hope that they can get them out in dollar bills, if those dollar bills are even worth anything at that point. Maybe you'll get paid in Tether. I don't know. All I know is we've seen it in the past. People get locked out of their accounts. Things get frozen for weeks. We see electronic bank runs. We see cyber attacks. We see ransomware attacks. We see EMTs. It's all happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's all happening. Heed the warning, because something's coming. And many of you know in your heart and in your conscience that something is not right. Something is very ominous right now. And it is a warning to you and your soul and your spirit to wake up and prepare. Do it now. Do it today. God bless.